Hey Reddit. Throwaway because I honestly never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these. I've read posts on here for years thinking, that sucks, glad it's not me. Well, surprise. It's me now. My wife, Lena, and I have been married for 9 years. No kids, but we've always had a pretty solid life together, traveled a lot, shared hobbies, decent communication, or so I thought. She's always been really warm, thoughtful, the kind of person who remembers your mom's birthday and sends handwritten thank you notes. She works in media production, mostly behind the scenes doing scheduling and coordination stuff. I do IT consulting, mostly from home. About 3 months ago, she got this huge opportunity, working on a lifestyle news segment for a national morning TV show. Not just a one-off, like recurring weekly features, working closely with the host, a guy named Julian Rivers. If you watch TV, you've probably seen him. Charming, smooth, total mom crush material. Think salt and pepper hair and fake deep charisma. She was over the moon about the job. I was excited for her. Seriously, I was proud. It was a big break. The schedule shifted fast. She had to be on set by 5 a.m. most days. Sometimes she stayed late for reshoots or after production meetings. I didn't think much of it, TV's a chaotic business. I picked up more of the chores, cooked more, tried to be supportive. But then the little things started. Her phone, once left all over the place, was suddenly always on her. Face down, silenced. She changed her phone password. She said it was for work privacy. She started dressing differently too. Not just TV professional, but sharper. Sexier. Lingerie I hadn't seen before started showing up in the laundry. When I asked about it, she just laughed and said, wardrobe things. Don't get weird. The first real red flag hit when she came home one night visibly buzzed and told me they had a wrap party after filming. She was all giggles and sparkles. I asked if she needed help getting into bed, and she told me, half joking, half serious, Julian would have carried me upstairs in one arm. She laughed after she said it. I didn't. I brushed it off as a bad joke. But something in my gut twisted. That was the first night I had trouble sleeping. After that wrap party comment, I couldn't stop noticing how distant she'd become. It was subtle at first, she'd still say I love you and give me a quick peck goodbye, but the warmth behind it felt performative. Like she was checking boxes. Then came the phone habits. She used to scroll Instagram next to me on the couch. Now, she tilted the screen away, or would straight up get up and leave the room if someone texted. I mentioned it once, and she snapped, "Why are you suddenly policing my phone?" Policing? That wasn't policing. That was noticing you've turned into a CIA operative overnight. A few nights later, I was grabbing laundry out of the dryer and noticed a blouse I didn't recognize, low-cut, slinky. Definitely not her usual on-set wardrobe. I asked, and she shrugged, wardrobe borrowed it for a segment shoot. But there was no tag on it. It looked worn. Then she started working late. A lot. Late shoots, editing meetings, Julian wanted to go over a new script. Julian this, Julian that. She was suddenly full of admiration for him. Julian has such a great eye for aesthetics. Julian's wife doesn't understand him. Yeah, she dropped that one casually in conversation. That comment lit a fuse in me. I asked, wait, how do you know about his wife? I thought he kept his personal life private? She froze, then stammered something about an on-set lunch where he opened up about his marriage. It sounded rehearsed. Too clean. That night, I looked up Julian Rivers on social media. Found his Instagram. He'd posted a photo recently, group dinner, dimly lit restaurant, captioned late night with the Dream Team wineglass lightbulb, and there was Lena, sitting next to him. Laughing. Leaning in close. His hand was almost on her lower back. She hadn't mentioned going out that night. I didn't say anything immediately. I wanted to believe I was overthinking it. That I was being paranoid. But my gut was screaming something was wrong. And then I found the receipt. 2 weeks ago, she left a dry cleaning slip in the car cup holder. Her name was on it, but the pickup had two names attached, hers and Julian's. I looked up the address. It wasn't near the studio. It was near his apartment building. When I asked about it, she gave me a look like I was accusing her of murder. We carpooled that day. He asked me to drop his stuff off. Don't be dramatic. But the pieces weren't fitting. Nothing added up anymore. And I was done playing detective in my own marriage. I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Lena snored softly beside me, her arm draped over me like everything was fine. But my mind was screaming. That photo. That dry cleaning slip. The way she said his name like it was laced with gold. The next morning, I asked her flat out over coffee. Are you having an affair with Julian? She blinked. Didn't even flinch. Just paused mid-sip, set the mug down gently, and said, "What the hell, Evan?" I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just repeated the question. Her face twisted into something between disgust and pity. This is what happens when you let your insecurities run your brain. I told you, he's a colleague. A mentor. So you didn't go out to dinner with him last Thursday? She narrowed her eyes. It was a team dinner. I told you I'd be working late. No, you didn't. And you never mentioned anything about Julian's laundry either. Now she got defensive. Why are you snooping through my receipts? Do you even hear yourself? That's when I realized the tactic, flip it on me. Guilt me into silence. She had done it before, but now it felt strategic. I'm not accusing, I said. I'm asking. If you're seeing him physically, emotionally, whatever, I deserve to know. I deserve honesty. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. Then came the gaslighting. You've always had trust issues, Evan. This is your baggage, not mine. Julian's going through a rough time with his wife. We've been talking. That's it. God forbid I have a male friend. But you lied. You didn't tell me you were out with him. You didn't tell me about the blouse. You didn't even tell me about that dinner. Her voice sharpened, because you can't handle the truth without turning it into a scandal. It wasn't a denial. Not a real one. It was all smoke and mirrors. Emotion instead of facts. Blame instead of clarity. And worst of all? She still wore that kindness mask. Like she was the one hurt. Like I had betrayed her by daring to question her. That moment broke something inside me. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, looking at the person I thought I knew, realizing she'd rather lie than face me with honesty. It was like arguing with a character she was playing, sympathetic, warm, thoughtful, but none of it felt real anymore. And yet, part of me still wanted to believe her. That part? He died that morning. After that confrontation, I felt like a ghost living in my own house. Lena went about her days as if nothing had happened. She hummed while folding laundry. She sent me "hope your day's going okay" red heart texts. But every interaction felt like performance art. Like she was doubling down on the role of devoted wife to convince me, and maybe even herself, that nothing was wrong. But I knew. I felt it in my gut. The kind of knowing that doesn't need evidence anymore. The emotional whiplash was unreal. One minute I was filled with rage, imagining him touching her, whispering in her ear during filming breaks, the way she probably looked at him like she used to look at me. The next minute, I was heartbroken, staring at our wedding photo and wondering when exactly everything shifted. The worst part? I still loved her. God help me, I still loved her. I hated myself for that. I tried to focus on work, on friends, on anything else, but even the smell of her shampoo lingering in the bathroom made my stomach twist. I kept having these flashbacks to random, innocent memories, her holding my hand while we watched fireworks last summer, her snorting while laughing at that stupid cooking show, her saying "you're my home." Now I didn't even know who she was. Or who I had been loving all this time. I started second-guessing everything. Had she been lying for longer than I thought? Did she ever love me the way I loved her? I didn't tell anyone at first. I felt ashamed. Like her cheating was somehow a reflection of me, of something I lacked. Maybe I wasn't exciting enough. Maybe she wanted someone glamorous, someone who wasn't just Evan the IT guy. It wasn't just betrayal, it was an identity crisis. I was mourning a relationship that still technically existed. That's the cruelest part. She still came home. She still kissed me goodnight. But all I could see was her and Julian, tucked away in some studio office, sharing secrets and promises that used to belong to me. And I had no idea what to do next. I didn't even know who I was without her. After weeks of emotional tailspin, I finally cracked. It happened on a Wednesday night. She came home late again, this time saying the shoot had gone over schedule because of technical issues. She kissed me on the cheek, went to shower, and left her bag by the door. Something in me snapped. I opened the bag. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. But inside, I found a small, glossy press badge, with both her and Julian's names on it. Apparently, they'd attended a media gala the night before. She never mentioned it. I flipped the badge over. On the back was a Polaroid of the two of them, her in an evening gown, laughing with a glass of wine in hand, his arm snugly around her waist. I didn't feel angry. I felt done. When she came out of the shower in her robe, towel in her hair, I just held up the photo. She froze. There was a pause, a silent beat where everything hung in the air. Then, instead of a grand confession, she sighed and said, "I didn't know how to tell you. It wasn't supposed to go this far." That sentence rang in my ears like a gunshot. It wasn't supposed to go this far. So it was going somewhere. She chose this. She sat down on the couch and started crying real tears, messy and broken. She told me she didn't mean to fall for him. That he understood her world in a way I didn't. That it started as just emotional support on set. That she didn't want to hurt me, but she felt alive around him. It was a train wreck of justifications. I told her I needed space. I packed a bag and left that night to stay at my brother's place. I didn't shout. I didn't curse her out. I just walked away. The next day, I started looking for a divorce lawyer. It was the hardest decision I've ever made. But I realized, I can't fix a marriage alone. I can't compete with someone who isn't even playing fair. She called a dozen times. Left long, emotional voicemails. Promised she'd end it with Julian. Said we could do therapy. Said she still loved me. But for once, I didn't want words. I wanted peace. After I moved out, the silence between us turned into a kind of Cold War. She stopped calling after a few days. I guess she got the message, or maybe she was too wrapped up in her shiny media world to care anymore. But that didn't mean things got easier. My phone buzzed nonstop for weeks. Friends who had seen her photo at the gala started texting me. Some were confused, others apologetic. One even said, "I thought you two had split already." Apparently, they had been publicly cozy for a while. That was the first gut punch. The second came when I logged into our shared streaming account. She had made a new profile with his name. I know that sounds petty, but I just stared at it for 10 minutes like it was some kind of joke. Like the life we built together could just be overwritten by another man's name on a profile. Then came the paperwork. The divorce process was a blur of logistics, bitterness, and emotional exhaustion. We didn't fight over much, thankfully we had no kids, but every little item we used to share suddenly felt like a landmine. The couch we bought together. The mug from our honeymoon. Even the stupid cat we adopted during lockdown, she kept it. We did one mediation session. She showed up in a beige blazer like she was attending a job interview. Calm. Polished. Distant. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize again. She just wanted to move forward. That's when I realized she had already let go of the marriage loan before I found the photo. I was just catching up. I signed the papers a week later. Alone in my car. I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel rage. I felt empty. Like a chapter had ended but no new one had begun. About a month after the divorce papers were signed, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Hey. I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I thought you deserved to know. I work with Lily. Things with her and Mark, they're not what they seem. It was a woman from her studio, someone I vaguely remembered meeting at a rap party once. Let's call her Jess. She wasn't just gossiping, she sounded genuinely conflicted. We hopped on a call later that evening. She told me Lily and Mark had apparently cooled off not long after our separation. He had a reputation for dating on-set talent and dropping them once the production ended. Classic charm and discard. According to Jess, Lily had started showing up to work looking tired, stressed, and, here's the kicker, had been confiding in some crew that maybe she made a mistake. I didn't know what to feel. Vindicated? Angry? A part of me wanted to laugh. Another part wanted to scream. But most of all, I felt sad. Sad for how far she'd fallen from the person I once loved. Sad that she threw away a decade for a guy who saw her as a fling. Sad that I was still getting secondhand pain from her decisions. Jess asked if I wanted to meet up, just to talk. I declined. I wasn't ready for any kind of connection, not even platonic. But I thanked her. She was the first person in this whole mess who made me feel like I wasn't crazy. Later that night, I stared at my phone. I didn't want Lily back, but I wanted closure. I wanted to understand why she did what she did. What was missing? What was broken? Was it always doomed? But I also knew some questions never get answers. And some people don't deserve another conversation. So I put the phone down. And I didn't look back. About a week after Jess reached out, it finally happened. Lily texted me. No hi. No how are you? Just a simple. Can we talk? It hit like a punch to the gut. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes before replying. About what? She called me instead. I didn't pick up. Then she left a voice message. I debated not listening, but curiosity won. Her voice was soft, even shakier than I remembered. She said she was sorry. That she had made a terrible mistake. That she let her ego and the excitement of something new ruin the most stable, loving thing she ever had. She cried. Said that she didn't realize what she lost until Mark ghosted her after the segment wrapped. Apparently, he had been entertaining multiple women the whole time. She was just a work wife. Once the cameras stopped rolling, so did his interest. Lily said she missed me. She missed us. That maybe, someday, we could try again. I didn't respond. I listened to that voicemail twice. The first time I was angry. The second time, I was empty. She was only sorry because it blew up in her face. Not because she hurt me. Not because she betrayed our vows. But because she was alone now, and I was no longer an option. It's funny how people confuse regret with love. I didn't block her. But I also didn't reply. I was done giving her access to the pieces of me she shattered. In the weeks that followed, I focused on myself. For the first time in years, I prioritized me. I started hitting the gym again. Not just for revenge, though, yeah, that little voice in my head loved the idea of her seeing me doing better without her, but because I needed to feel strong again. Physically, emotionally, mentally. I also reconnected with some friends I had unintentionally drifted from. Funny how being in a relationship, especially one where your partner lies constantly, can isolate you in ways you don't even realize until you're out of it. Therapy helped, too. A lot. I'd been skeptical at first, but talking to someone who didn't try to defend her, didn't say maybe it was a misunderstanding, was exactly what I needed. They helped me see that what happened wasn't my fault. That being kind, trusting, and supportive isn't a weakness. Her betrayal said more about her than it ever did about me. As for Lily, she tried contacting me again. A long email this time. It was more detailed, more apologies, more attempts to explain. I didn't read it. I archived it immediately. Sometimes closure isn't something the other person can give you. Sometimes it's the moment you choose not to let them back into your life. I let go. It didn't feel triumphant. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt peaceful. Looking back, there were so many moments where I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Where I trusted, even when the signs were there. And I don't regret that, not because she deserved it, but because I did. I'd rather be someone who trusts too much than someone who lies as easily as she did. What happened hurt deeply. It shattered the version of my life I thought I was living. But in that wreckage, I found something unexpected: clarity. I learned that love isn't just about how someone treats you when things are good. It's about consistency, respect, and honesty. Without those things, it's not love, it's a performance. So to anyone reading this, maybe going through something similar, here's my advice. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, don't dismiss it just to keep the peace. Don't excuse repeated lies. A mistake can be forgiven. A pattern is a choice. You are not responsible for someone else's betrayal. Their actions are theirs alone. It's okay to walk away. In fact, sometimes it's the strongest thing you can do. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry anymore.